Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we are taking a look at Codex supplements, Black Templars for Warhammer 40,000, kindly sent to me as part of the Black Templar army set by Games Workshop as a free sample to check out and review and show you guys. So what do we got here? Well, the army set itself you can see on the paint table today, where I'll go through the sprues and stuff, but basically you have almost like an old style battle force that also includes a codex and the data cards for all of your stratagems and kind of like little gizmos and widgets that allow you the honor of being a Black Templar and serving in probably the most famous Imperial Fists successor chapter, although I think the Crimson Fists, the OG 40k cover boys, are probably the true super cool Imperial Fist successor. Of course, this is the special edition of the book. We saw this with the Lumineth Realm Lords army book and the Orc army book for the Beast Nagas, where you had a nice art cover basically. So this is a special edition. And this is the 3rd edition 40k box set cover. I love that they're actually making this guy into a miniature. They've previewed him on Warhammer Community. And you've got basically this as the new master, although he doesn't have a lightning claw. He's a power sword or a power axe option. Lovely John Blanche piece of art here on the cover, which of course the probably production codex won't have as its final cover. Something different. Screamy Faces, the new 9th edition standard for the inlay here, and then we're jumping right in. So you do need a copy of Codex Space Marines to use what's in this book, and this book is effectively a Primarising of the old Templars rules, where you had a mixed squad. So you have a Primaris Crusade squad now, which mixes basically intercessors, assault intercessors, and initiates. A new Primaris initiate, which could be something for the future, where you have Primaris scouts with 2 wounds, which is kind of exciting. And it's an 80-page book that also includes things like your own special Crusade rules for going out and doing narrative play games. Data sheets for all the units that are in here. It says High Marshal Helbricht, Chaplain Grimaldus, the hero of Hell's Reach in the Armageddon War. Also, probably my second favorite Aaron Dembski-Bowden book, if you haven't read it. The Emperor's Champion, which has gotten a big old 40 mil Primaris facelift from the original Juan Diaz. Well, the second, I guess the current one would be the Juan Diaz metal sculpt that was in fine cast most recently. And the Primaris Crusader squad, as I alluded to earlier, basic Crusader squad, and then a Primaris Sword Brethren squad with their own special rules. Get some background, about 26 pages thereof, a nice color showcase for 10 pages, and then jumping into the rules. So let's get right to it. What do we got? Well, what's going on with the Black Templars? Well, they've got endless crusades going on. Of course, as the Imperium is split in half now, their work is never done. And they, of course, if you don't know anything about them, are kind of a militant crusader, sort of almost like a medieval crusaders force. They don't use Psychers at all. They like use them under protest. Even the navigators and the people on their fleet that use psych powers are very heavily restricted and chained up, and they favor things like chaplains over, of course, librarians. Their librarius was totally disbanded and isn't used at all. In the core Space Marine book, they can reroll runs and charges, basically anytime for anyone with the tactic, and they get a 5+ mortal wound shrug all the time. And in the current mortal wound meta, that's not a terrible thing. We get a background for, of course, Warzone Armageddon. In 3rd edition, that was where they kind of made their debut. And for a while, the Black Templars were the hottest army in 3rd edition. They did the Rhino Rush better than anybody else. And of course, this book is trying to make melee great again. I don't know if that's going to work in a Mechanicus/Drukhari world, but they're giving it a go. And then we got our different vows here. Now, this is just sort of a color section of the vows. And the full litany of when they make the vow, what it is, like suffer not the unclean to live, is lead us from death to victory, from falsehood to truth, lead us from despair to hope, from faith to slaughter, lead us his strength in lend us his strength in an eternity of war, let his wrath fill our hearts, death, war, and blood, in vengeance, serve the emperor in the name of Dorn. All of these have in-game effects, and you actually take a vow at the start of each game. Beautiful color section. Some very strange basing choices. So in the box set for the Primaris Crusader squad, you get 4 initiates, all of whom can be armed with a variety of things. No actual bolt rifles though, and no stalker bolt rifles. Only auto bolt rifles, heavy bolt pistols, and Astartes chainswords. You can make them a melee unit, a shooty unit that's assault shooty, because running and charging is kind of their thing, and then a pyre blaster. And then your basic dude's gonna have bolt carbines, Astartes chainswords, and bolt pistols. So these are your bigified scouts, which I think is kind of neat. They're actually on 28 mil bases instead of 25s, and they are physically significantly bigger than Space Marine scouts, which I think is kind of cool. But then the Sword Brethren, as you can see here, the squad of Sword Brethren, they're basically like the Blade Guard for the Black Templars, although they can still take Blade Guard. The Sword Brethren are on 40 mils, and that means that the unit leader for this unit is on 40 mils too. It makes for a weird looking unit, because you have a 40 mil unit leader for the Sword Brethren who's leading it, 4 32 mil base guys, and then 5 28 mil based guys. So it's kind of, sorry, no, it's actually 5 of these. It's 5 of these guys, 1 Sword Brethren leader, and then 4 of these guys is like the core of the squad. And it feels weird to have all those different base sizes in the same unit. You have as you can see here, the 40 mil bases for the Sword Brethren. Again, they're basically these, they're reimaginings of the Sword Brethren medals that came out in 5th edition 40k, I'm pretty sure, question mark. And then these great new characters, so the new Helbrecht on a big 50 mil base. You get the Emperor's Champion on a 40, nice reimagining of the old Juan Diaz mini. And then Helbrecht with his Cenobite Servitors, which have all been redone. Like the metal, I have the metal one, he's amazing, it's a beautiful miniature. This is a really good reimagining, a faithful reimagining, as they've all crossed their Rubicon Primaris. You can see there's the Sword Brethren that leads the squad on his 40. So 40, 28, and then 32 is for everybody else. It's a weird looking squad. And then your Captain Mini, and he can basically be made 2 different ways. This way with a power sword or a combi flamer plasma pistol, or with a power axe. And I'm building mine with a power axe. I love that he's got like a kind of like chained up penitent on his back here, all kinds of neat weapons and stuff. And there's 2 head options. I did the gas mask head. Now the army box also comes with a Redemptor Dreadnought, which is just a standard Redemptor Dreadnought. I might actually not even make him for the Black Templars. I might do the Black Templars as a kill team, and then paint up the Redemptor in my Ultramarines colors instead. And then a big fat color section. All right, jumping in, the rules. Well, 9th edition Codex Supplement style. You get your Battleforge rules, Army rules, Match Play rules, which includes your special tactics you can choose, and then Crusade rules, Datasheets, War Gear points, and rules reference. So, detachment abilities. Any Black Templars detachment, which is someone who's all Black Templars in a detachment, unless they have Agents of the Imperium or unaligned, can take a Templar vow. And the Templar vow is at the end of the read mission briefing step, you select one of the following Templar vows. So that's important to note, because it's not during army list creation. It's after you know what mission you're playing, then you pick your Templar vow. And that's actually kind of important, because it means you can tailor your vow to the opponent you're facing and the mission that you're playing. So I do like that. You're not locked into your vow basically at the beginning of the game. And you can see here, this is again the 4 different vows. So, suffer not the unclean to live. The vow is each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack against a non-vehicle, an unmodified roll of 6 automatically wounds. So anyone's not vehicle, so no knights, unfortunately, you get an auto wound on 6s. Sorry, auto wound on 6s to hit, not to wound. And then your passion is each time this unit is selected to charge, the closest enemy non-aircraft unit within 12 and not within engagement range of any Black Templars must be declared as the target of your charge. They can bait you into charging. So cool, you get an auto wound on 6. Not so cool, you can be baited out into charges through canny sort of placement with your opponent. Uphold the honor of the Emperor. So your vow models this unit of a 5+ invol, and each time an attack is made against this unit, an unmodified wound roll of 1 or 2 always fails. So not quite transhuman physiology, but not bad. If you're fighting knights or someone with lots of strength 8 weapons, that's a pretty good vow. 5+ invol, and you can only wound me on 3+ at best. And then your passion is each time an enemy model makes an attack against this unit, you don't get cover. So, I mean, it's not too bad. I might take that. I might take that one all the time. That one feels like the default one if you don't know really what else to take. Go for being tough, because being tough is always good. Abhor the Witch, destroy the Witch. Vow once per battle in your first movement phase. If there's any enemy psyker units in your opponent's army, until the end of the phase, add 3 to the move characteristic of models in this unit. And each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack against a psyker, reroll wound rolls of 1. And then passion, while enemy psyker units within 18 of this unit cannot perform any actions. So your enemy psychers can bait you out. You'd fight Grey Knights and just not be able to push any buttons anymore. And then accept any challenge no matter the odds. Vow, while this unit is within engagement range of any enemy units, if a combat doctrine active for your army, this unit gains the bonus of the assault doctrine instead of the one that's active. So you're basically always in the assault doctrine. And then each time this unit fights, until the fighter is resolved, add one of the attack characteristic of models in that unit. This is not cumulative with the additional attack granted by the shock assault ability. So basically, you've always got +1 attack, charging, not charging all the time, and you've always got the assault doctrine. But you can't fall back. That's another really good one. I mean, you're playing melee, right? And so until the end of the battle, all units from your army with the Templar Vow ability gain the effect listed below. The effects of each vow can be found on page 44 to 45, and each passion is a drawback that also affects them. And that means that everybody that's got the Black Templars keyword, excluding models with Ancient Imperium are unaligned, and then that's it. So every enemy, if every unit in your army, excluding unaligned units, has a keyword, and every unit that has the Combat Doctrines ability and is in the Black Templars attachment gains the Templar Vow ability. So if you have Combat Doctrines, it means you're not like things like, for instance, you wouldn't be like servitors and stuff like that. So there's some stuff that obviously won't get the vow, but it doesn't make any sense for them to have the vow anyway. But I feel like any challenge, no matter the odds, and upholding on the Emperor are going to be the really popular ones, because durability is always a big key. And then just, if you just want to go for kill, because like, if you're building a melee army and the Black Templars are entirely geared towards running as fast as they can at the enemy and killing them, then always having additional AP and also shock assault, or sorry, +1 attack is pretty huge. Then you've got your own page of stratagems, just 2 pages. If your army includes any Black Templars attachments, you have access to these stratagems, can spend CPs on them. So Devout Push for 1 CP. Use at the start of the fight phase, select a Black Templars core or character unit from your army, and then select one of the following. If that unit's not within engagement range of the enemy, can make a normal move up to 3. It must end closer to the closest enemy unit or closer to the closest objective marker. That's the neat one. Being able to push 3 towards an objective could be a huge deal at the start of the fight phase. And if that unit's within engagement range, they can pile in. So that could be a huge 1 CP ability to just get onto a zone, or even moving more models onto a zone during a fight. And it's of the fight phase, so enemy and your own. You can spend a CP to just shift more models into an objective. Vicious Riposte for 1 CP. Use it at the start of the fight phase. Select a Black Templar core unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, each model in that unit that's destroyed by a melee attack and doesn't explode rolls a D6, and on a 5+, after attacking the models has finished basically attacking, it suffers a mortal wound. And you can suffer a maximum of 1 mortal wound per phase as a result of this ability. So basically, every time someone dies in your unit on a 5+, somebody takes a mortal wound back. You need a really big unit to get to 6, I'm pretty sure. Because I mean, if you're rolling, you need to lose 15 guys. No. 6 times 5+, so 18 guys to, on average, do 6 mortal wounds. So you have a really big unit get wiped out. And then everything in the army is at least 2 wounds. So we're talking a unit of, you're taking 36 wounds to maybe get that 6 mortal wounds. Feels corner case. Crusader's Wrath, 2 CPs. Use the stratagem in your command phase if the assault doctrine is active for your army. I don't know how that interacts with accept any challenge. You gain the bonus of the assault doctrine instead of the combat doctrine that's active. So in melee, you have the assault doctrine all the time. It doesn't mean it's active, so this only still works during the assault doctrine. Using your command phase, until the start of your next command phase, each time a Black Templar model from your army makes an attack with a pistol or melee weapon, on an unmodified wound roll of 6, it's an additional AP, and it is cumulative with assault doctrine. You don't use it once. For the Emperor's Honor, 2 CP. Uses in the fight phase, select a Black Templar character unit from your army and 1 enemy character unit until the end of the phase. Each time that enemy character unit is selected to fight, if the Black Templar's character is within engagement range of that enemy, and your opponent must basically target them. So he shouts out a challenge and makes you fight him, which your characters are pretty good. They're not necessarily that good. I mean, calling out Gaz, calling out like real big guys, like calling out, I guess it could be any character though. So you could call it someone who's fairly mild but might kill a unit and make them fight you. You could also call out like squishy people, you know what I mean? Like psychers or folks that don't necessarily want to get into combat and they have to come over and fight you if they can. Bombastic Delivery, 2 CPs, just auto get an Inspiring Litany. So no need to roll, just get one Litany off for 2 CPs. Revered Repositories for 1 CP, get an additional Relic. You can only use it once. And then here, Heir of Sigismund, uses when you're nominating a character to be your warlord, you get an additional warlord trait for them. So a double warlord trait for Heir of Sigismund. And then Champion of the Feast, I like this one. Basically, whoever wins the Feast of Blades can be in your army. If you haven't really read anything about the Feast of Blades, it's awesome. It's all the successors get together and have a big party where basically they hurt each other until one of them is the best, and they get the honor of being like the champion of the successors at that point. Use the stratagem before the battle. Select a Black Templar's model from your army that has Sergeant or Sword Brother in the profile, and add one of their attacks, wounds, and weapon skill. You can only use it once. So you make somebody a super sergeant, basically. 1 CP for Abhor the Witch. Use it in your opponent's psychic phase after a psychic test is passed by an enemy psyker and after any Deny the Witch attempt is made. If that enemy psyker is within 24 of any Black Templars unit from your army, roll a d6. On a 4+, it's denied. Just like, nope, they just pray the psych power away. And then Tenacious Assault for 1 CP. Use it when an enemy infantry or beast unit with an engagement range of a Black Templar unit tries to fall back. On a 4+, they can't. So you just trap somebody basically in your assault. Strength of Conviction for 1 CP, use it in your command phase. Select a Black Templar's core unit from your army until the start of your next command phase. They have OBSEC. So for 1 CP, a core unit can become OBSEC. That can be super duper duper handy. Emperor's Will for 1 CP, use your stratagem in shooting phase. Select 1 Black Templar infantry unit from your army that has advanced this turn till the end of the phase. And it's still eligible to shoot with, but can only make attacks with pistol, rapid fire, or assault weapons. And then models from that unit do not suffer the penalties incurred for firing their assault weapons. So basically, run, 1 big unit can still shoot with everything, no penalty. And only 1 CP. Again, they're incentivizing big unit takes in this. There's a lot of cool 1 CP abilities that basically get better the bigger the unit you're using them on. I mean, that's true in every case, but Templars have access to these bigger units because of the Crusader squad. Shock and Awe. Use it in your movement phase. Select a Black Templar's Land Raider Crusader model from your army. They can disembark after it's moved, but cannot be selected to move again this phase. So get out of a transport after it moves for 1 CP. So you can still use your Crusader to do Crusader things from 3rd edition 40k. Hallelujah! I mean, the fact that all Land Raiders can't do that, I think, is a crime. Exemplars of the Crusade, 1 CP. Use the stratagem in the fight phase. Select 1 Sword Brethren unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified roll of 6 scores an additional hit. Now remember, these are triggers. I don't think you can double down on triggers. Oh wait, I may be thinking of AOS. I am thinking of AOS. Heretic's Pyre, uses stratagem, it's 1 or 2 CPs. Use stratagem at the start of shooting phase, and select a core unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, each time a flame weapon hits a unit of between 6 and 10 models, it has a minimum of 3. And 11 or more, it's just an automatic number of max hits. But if you're Gravis, it costs 2. So no taking those sweet, sweet Gravis flame aggressors and getting a 1 CP max hits with their double flamers. That would be amazing. No, they don't give you that. And then Incendiary Shells for 1 CP. Use it in your shooting phase. And a Black Templar unit from your army selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time they attack with an Astartes shotgun, it has a damage of 2 instead of 1. And all of your Crusader squads can have Astartes shotguns, which is kind of neat. So damage 2 Astartes shotguns for 1 CP. Again, take a big squad, give them all shotguns, double damage. Obviously no psychic powers for this book because, you know, Black Templars. So Litanies of the Devout instead, we got some extra spicy priest abilities. The Litany of Divine Protection. If this litany is inspiring, select 1 friendly Templar's core or Templar's character unit within 6. Each time they would lose a wound on a 5+, it's not lost, so a 5-up wound shrug. Remember, you can just CP to get these automatically. Or one of them automatically. Somber Remorseless Persecution. If this litany is inspiring, select 1 friendly Templar core unit within 6 of the priest. Each time they make a melee attack, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts a mortal wound on the target in addition to normal damage, but max 6. They're capping all these mortal wound generators at 6 mortal wounds now. Still a cool idea. Somber Remorseless Persecution. Plea of Deliverance. It is select a friendly Black Templar's core or character within 6. If that unit or model is being affected by a psychic power, the effects of the psychic powers on the unit and its models end, so you just cancel a psychic power. That's a really cool ability. And to the start of your next command phase, that unit and the models it contains cannot be affected by any psychic power manifested by enemy units. So imagine that. Make your army immune to smite. Pretty great. I mean, a big unit again. Fires of Devotion. If this litany is inspiring, select a friendly Black Templar's core, Black Templar's character unit within 6. Each time that unit fights, if it makes a charge move, was charged, or performs a heroic intervention, they get +1 attacks. So on top of your shock assault, basically. Fervent Acclamation. If this litany is inspiring, select one Templar vow that is not currently in effect and select one friendly Templar's core or Templar's character. You gain the effect of the vow. So you can double down on a vow. That's pretty cool. So you can have 5+ wound shrug and +1 attack. Hey, or 5+ invul, sorry. And best to wound on 3s and +1 attack. Again, take a big unit, take the vow you start with, like the durability vow, and then amp them up with attacks. And select one friendly, they gain the effects of that vow. So yeah, you get double. It's not an effect and select a friendly, so you get both. Oh, the glory. If it's inspiring at the start of the fight phase, if this priest is in engagement range of any enemy units, it fights first. And each time this priest makes an attack with its Crozius Arcanum or Artificer Crozius, or a relic that replaces one of these, a modified roll of hit, roll a hit of 6 scores 2 additional hits. So you get triple hits for every hit of 6. And then +1 strength. Oath of Glory is pretty cool. You can really jazz up a priest. Then your warlord traits, the epitome of piety. In your opponent's second phase, this warlord can attempt to deny a psychic power, and you get +1 to deny. Paragon of Fury, +1 strength. When they finish a charge move, roll a d6 for each enemy model. It's an engagement range. On a 5+, take a mortal wound. So dive into a big fat unit and shed out mortal wounds. Master of Arms, at the start of the fight phase, if this warlord is within engagement range of any enemy units, it can fight first and add +1 to its attacks. Master of Arms is pretty great. Inspirational Fighter, when a friendly Black Templar's core unit's within 6, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, the modified wound roll of 6 improves the armor penetration by 1. This is cumulative with the bonus from the Assault Doctrine. Frontline Commander, +1 to advance and charge, and each time a friendly Black Templar's core unit declares a charge against an enemy unit that is within engagement range of the warlord, add 1 to the charge roll for that unit. So if you make it in, everyone else gets +1 too. That's got some interesting interactions with doing like a Smash Captain, because you could still make one obviously with a Thunderhammer and a Jump Pack, and lead in other units. So you can Deep Strike in within 9, hard roll an 8, get to reroll because you're Black Templars, and then potentially everyone else gets +1 too. I mean, it's not great. It's not trying to reroll a 7, but it's still pretty good. Oathkeeper, this warlord is eligible to perform a heroic intervention if it's within 6 horizontally and 5 vertically. And every time they make a heroic intervention, they can move 6 instead of 3. So be super fast. Helbrecht gets Frontline Commander, so he's got the +1 to charge. And then Grimaldus gets Epitome of Piety, he can deny the Witch. If the Emperor's Champion's a warlord, it must be given from the Black Templar's warlord traits. If you choose a randomly generated warlord trait for the Emperor's Champion, roll any results of 6. And then Relics, the Crusader's Helm, +3 to all your aura abilities. In your command phase, select a friendly Black Templar's core unit within 9 until the start of your next command phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, the Assault Doctrine is considered to be active. Witch Seeker Bolts. Select a bolt weapon and replace it with this. Or sorry, when they shoot it, they can do this instead. Each time they fire a Witch Seeker Bolt, you can ignore Lookout Sir if it's a Psyker. And each time attack is made with a Witch Seeker Bolt against the Psyker, a successful hit roll does D3 mortal wounds in addition to any normal damage. So you get your sweet, sweet anti-Psyker rounds. The Aurelian Shroud, once per battle at the start of the player's command phase, you can unveil it. You gain the Aurelian Shroud aura, while a friendly Black Templar's core infantry is within 3 of this model. The models in that unit gain a 4+ invul. Pretty cool. So it's like a cool, like, shiny blanket. Oh, there it is right there, actually. The Ancient Breviary, chaplain only. Roll an extra d6 for determining your prayers and discard the lowest result. That is amazing, as you saw. So anyone who can invoke more than one prayer wants that Ancient Breviary because it's amazing. And then you, baby chaplain, can, if he fails it, spend 2 CBs to auto do it. Skull of Cacodominus. While an enemy psychers within 12, they're -1 to their tests. While an enemy psychers within 12 of this model, each time their test is taken, they perils on any double. And once per battle at the start of your opponent's psychic phase, you can raise the Skull of Cacodominus. If it does until the end of the phase, you get the aura. While an enemy psychers within 18 of this model, you're -1 to the tests. And it's cumulative with the other abilities from this relic, so you get -2. Sword of Judgment replaces the Power Sword or any Mastercraft version thereof. +3, -3, 3 damage. It's a sexy Power Sword. The usual Adamantium Mantle for a Wound Shrug, Artificer Armor for a 2+5+, Mastercraft Weapon for +1 damage, Digi Weapons for an automatic mortal wound. The Aquila Immortalis, +1 to toughness and attacks. And then Perdition's Edge, cool little power axe. It's +3 strength, -2 AP, 2 damage, but a wound roll of 6 does 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. Breath of the Throne, it's a Combi Flamer or Auto Flamer. It's Assault D3 +3, strength 5, -1, 2 damage, and it auto hits. And the Tannhauser Bones. Every time you allocate attack to this bear, the damage is changed to 1. So you can only ever take a single wound. Whoa. That's amazing. So no matter what the damage is, the attack is changed to 1. You get stabbed by a knight, damage 6, damage 1. That's amazing. Then Relic Bearers. So if your army includes any chaplains, you can use the upgrades listed below. So you have to have a chaplain to use these. For each Black Templar's infantry or Black Templar's biker unit for your army, you can select one upgrade from the list below. Each upgrade can only be used once, and once selected, that upgrade must be allocated to one model in that unit, and that model gains the ability listed. And they should be distinctive and clear who has the relic. Each time you upgrade a unit in this way, its power rating is increased, as shown on the table below, or its point value is increased. So the Light of the Emperor's Grace. Add 1 leadership to the model in that unit, sorry, models in this unit. This model has the following abilities. Aura, while an enemy psyker is within 12, they're -1 to psych test taken. Sigismund's Seal. At the start of the first battle round, select 1 enemy unit on the battlefield until the end of the battle. Each time a melee attack is made by this model's unit against that enemy unit, you can reroll the hit roll and wound roll. Oof. So you call somebody out. The Holy Orb of Antioch. It should be of Antioch still. Once you're battle in your shooting phase, you can select an enemy unit that's within 6 invisible. 2+ to take D3 mortal wounds, and until the end of the turn, that unit's not eligible to fight until after all eligible units from your army have done so. And the Crux Obsidian. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, subtract 1 from the damage to a minimum of 1. Fist of Althus, replace the model with a Power Fist. ×2, -3, 3 damage, no minus to hit. That's pretty sweet and very popular, I can imagine. 10 points. The Beast Pyre, replaces a Flamer Auto Flamer. Assault D6, Strength 6, -2, 1 damage. And it's Blast, so it can get automatically up to 6 hits if it's a big unit. And auto hits. The Icon of Hindman. Each time an attack with an armor penetration characteristic of 1 or 2 is allocated, it's 0 instead. Whew, making this guy really hard to wound. And then Bones of Mordred. Each time this model makes a melee attack, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 2 mortal wounds on the target in addition to any normal damage. So that kind of Henman, that'd be really cool to give to someone like a Sword Brethren with a Mastercraft Power Sword, because the relics aren't. Oh no, they are still relics. Relic bearers. Do these count as relics? Each upgrade must be unique. They are relic bearers. They gain the relic bearers keyword. But are they actually relics? That's an interesting question. They're called relic bearers, and clearly, they are relics, but are they actually relics? They're kind of just relics you can give units. I just didn't know if you could give a sergeant an extra. Like you could take I guess you could champion the feast, Bones of Mordred something. Should be pretty cool. I'm getting ideas. And then your match play rules. Purge the enemy. So this is your bathe your blade in the blood of your foe objective. That's a big name. At the start of the first command phase, you can select 1 Templar's character model from your army to issue the challenge to your opponent. Must select an enemy character to accept it. If either player does not have a character model, they must select their warlord instead. Score 5 VPs at the end of the battle for each of the following conditions that have been achieved. The model that accepted the challenge was destroyed. The model that accepted the challenge was destroyed at the result of a melee attack. And the model that accepted it was destroyed as a result of the melee attack by the model that issued the challenge. So you can max out at 15 as long as the guy you call out kills the guy that your opponent calls out in melee. You don't have that big of a melee character. I don't know. I mean, it sounds cool in theory. You're just not that killy compared to some things in the game that are really killy. Battlefield Supremacy. Allow not the worship of unclean idols. Score 4 VPs at the end of the battle round if you control 1 or more objective markers that were controlled by your opponent at the start of the battle round. And a Black Templar's chaplain unit from your army is within range of that objective marker. I don't love this one. You only need to score it, you need to score it 4 times to win out of a 5-turn-ish game. And it requires you to be not already controlling the whole board. I'm not a big fan of these when they penalize you for having already taken all the objectives, right? So it caps your score basically on the idea that your opponent is pushing you off and you're coming back and you're getting pushed off and coming back, and that seems like it's asking to not get max points for it. And then No Mercy, No Respite. Carry out your vows. You can select this secondary if you've selected any Templar vows. This objective consists of a progressive component and an endgame component. You can only score victory points for the endgame component for the Templar vow that was selected at the end of the Read mission briefing, and not for any other vow selected during the battle, so you can't double down. Score 4 VPs at the end of the battle round if the number of enemy units destroyed by melee attacks by Black Templars units from your army is greater than the number of friendly Black Templars units that were destroyed during the battle round. you can score a maximum of 12 victory points during the battle for this component. So 3 times, if you've killed more enemy in melee than your opponent has just killed units in general during the turn, you get 4. I mean, that plays into how your army plays, so not terrible. And then you can max out for 3 more at the end of the battle if any of the following apply. The Suffer Not the Unclean to Live vow is selected, and an enemy warlord was destroyed by a melee attack made by a Black Templar's character. The Uphold the Honor of the Emperor vow is selected, and the Black Templar's infantry unit from your army that is not below half strength was in the enemy deployment zone at the end of the battle. The Abhor the Witch destroyed the Witch vow was selected, and any enemy Psyker units were destroyed. And the Accept Any Challenge no matter the odds vow was selected in this battle. And an enemy unit with a starting strength of 20 or more models, or an enemy model with a wound characteristic of 20 or more was destroyed during the battle. So kill a knight or kill a big unit. That's so situational. I feel like the Uphold the Honor is the one you're going to always do anyway, because if you're taking this, having a unit above half get into the opponent's half of the table is a thing you could kind of control versus I can't make my opponent's army have 20 guys in it. Now, that's why you take your vow at the beginning of the game, but this is a pretty cool secondary for how your army is supposed to play anyway, as it's pushing into a melee build. Crusade rules, so cool. So the cool thing about this is you're trying to basically earn experience by completing your vows. I love this standard bearer, and I love this reimagined captain. You can only select, basically you're trying to do your vows and then get an experience point for each mark on your Abhor the Witch tally, and you're going to score your experience based on doing things that fulfill those vows. You can reconsecrate things by recovering relics as an action. I love this one with the neophytes. Keep a first-hand experience tally for each Black Templars unit from your army that contains any Scout, Biker, Neophyte, or Primaris neophyte models. In the battle, add 1 to their first-hand experience tally if they're within range of any objective markers and are not within your deployment zone. And then they can only get this once per battle. At the end of each battle round, add 1 to their first-hand experience tally if it destroyed an enemy unit that was that battle round. So you gain 2 experience for 2 marks on your first-hand experience tally. So every time you kill something and every time you end a battle round next to an objective that's not in your deployment zone. I love that. That's just so cool. You can requisition your relic bearers, because obviously you need to pay for those somehow in Crusade. Holy interventions, so you can basically, the requisition has a variable cost, and it gives you your oath. I think where's the oaths? I think they're the next page. You can have a vision of the Emperor and become the Emperor's champion, which I think is pretty cool, and become the Marshal's chosen to become Primaris. And your battle traits. Oh, it's the Crusade. So yeah, you get deeds, and then you have to do a foe. So you can pick, I will bring victory to the CAD chapter, score a total of 200 more victory points, while your army register contains any Black Templars units. Your reward is a relic piece, the Blade of the Lost Crusader. And then like reclaim your relics, and you get your cool campaign relics and stuff too, like scepters and guns. And of course, a cool name generator, because you gotta have a name generator. And then datasheets. Okay, so wargaming weapon lists. Marshals are Primaris captains from the Black Templars chapter, and you have the following additional war gear options with the points for in the back. So if you're not equipped with a Mastercrafted Power Sword, or its bolt pistol and Mastercrafted Auto Bolt Rifle can be replaced with one of the following: an Auto Flamer and Mastercrafted Power Sword, an Auto Flamer and Mastercrafted Power Axe, Plasma Pistol and Mastercrafted Power Axe, or a Plasma Pistol and Mastercrafted Power Sword. And this is the model I got in the army box. I'm making mine with a Auto Flamer and a Mastercrafted Power Axe. So it's basically an Auto Bolt Rifle and Flamer built in, and then a Power Axe, because I like that sweet relic with the mortal wounds. Castellan is a Primaris Lieutenant from the Black Templars chapter, and they can also have a Heavy Bolt Pistol and a Sturdy's Chainsword, a Combi Flamer and Mastercrafted Power Axe, a Heavy Bolt Pistol and Mastercrafted Power Sword, an Auto Plasma and a Sturdy's Chainsword, or an Auto Plasma and Mastercrafted Power Sword. And then your Black Templar's Armory, if a Gladiator Lancer, Gladiator Reaper, Gladiator Valiant, Impulsor, or Repulsor Executioners from the Black Templars Army, you get the following thing. Instead of an Iron Hail Heavy Stubber, you can have a Multi-Melta. And if Repulsor from the Black Templars chapter, you can use the following. Your Iron Hail Heavy Stubber can have a Multi-Melta. So the Multi-Meltas from the Crusader sprue can get shoved on there. All right, good old High Marshal Helbricht. He is sitting in at 160. 6-inch move, 2s and 2s, strength 4, toughness 4, 8 wounds, 6 attacks, leadership 9, 2+ save. He's got his bolt rifle Meltagun, Ferocity. It's 30-inch range, rapid fire 2, 5-1/1 damage, or a Meltagun. Your Thrall's Fists. You get 2 additional attacks with strength 3. The 2 dudes in the base fight. And the Sword of the High Marshals, of course, all the cool swords now have 2 different fight modes. One-handed for +2 strength, -3 damage, save and 1 damage. And each time attack is made, make 2 hit rolls instead of 1. So you get to do 12 attacks. Or two-handed, which is ×2 strength, -3, 3 damage. I mean, strength 8, -3, 3 damage is pretty legit. He's an Angel of Death. He's got Crusade of Wrath, while friendly Black Templars core units within 6 add 1 of their strength. Whew, that's pretty great. Rights of Battle. While the friendly Black Templars core units within 6 of this model, each time a model makes an attack, reroll the hit rolls a 1. Chapter Master, pick a unit and they can reroll everything, and then Iron Halo for a 4+ save. He's a pretty standard Chapter Master. I mean, he's cool, but is he accept any challenge and go fight, you know, Gaz or go fight like Abaddon cool? He's pretty good, but I don't know. He doesn't have anything that really keeps him alive like Gaz and Abaddon do. Now, Grimaldus, on the other hand, he's got his Cenobite servitors that come with him. And he is 140. Grimaldus, yep, 140. But he's a unit. He's got his Plasma Pistol. It's a Plasma Pistol, and Artificial Crosier is the same. The Banner of the Fallen Crusaders. The bearer has the following ability. Aura, while a friendly Black Templar core or character units within 6 of this unit. Each time an advance roll is made, add D3 + 3 to their characteristic instead of D6, so a more reliable advance. And then Remnant of the Fallen Empire, the bearer has the following ability. When a friendly Black Templar's core or Black Templar's character units within 6, each time a model in that unit loses a wound on a D6 roll of 6+, it's not lost. And finally, the Scepter of Anointing. Each time a roll is made to determine a litany, they get to add 1 to the roll. So he's got a 2+ inspiring for his chance. Spiritual Leader, you can use his leadership within 6, so you can be leadership 9. I'm surprised he's not leadership 10. He should be leadership 10. If anybody should be leadership 10, if you've read Hell's Reach, Grimaldus should be leadership 10. There's literally a scene in the book where they've been in battle for so long that all of the paint is just shot off the front of their armor. Their armor is black on the back and just bare metal on the front because the orcs have shot everything off the front of them, which I think is hilarious. He's got a 4+ invul with Rosarius. Mindless Followers, contains any Cenobites. Each time an attack successfully wins this unit, the attack must be allocated to one of those models. So they die first. Devout, they can attempt to deny a power as if they were a Psyker. And then Indomitable Resolve, once per battle when this unit's destroyed, you can choose to roll a D6 at the end of the phase instead of using any other destroyed model special rules. On a 4+, set them back up as close as possible to where they were destroyed, not with an engagement, with 3 wounds left. So he just comes back. And he knows Litany of Hate and 2 other litanies. In your command phase, he can recite 2 litanies. On a 3+, they are inspiring, but he gets +1 to his roll, as long as the scepter's there. Emperor's Champion, he's just great still. He's only 5 powers, 100 points. So weapon skill 2+, bliss skill 3, 4/4, wounds 5, attacks 5, leadership 9, 2+ save. Bolt pistol and the black sword, it's +3, -3, 2 damage, or ×2, -4, 3 damage. And you're -1 to hit though when you do the thrusting strike, which I just wish you weren't. He's got the Armor of Faith, 4+ invul, skillful parry, and melee he's -1 to hit. Sigismund's Heir, if he's attacking a character, reroll the hits and wounds. And then Holy War Gear, you can never give him a relic. Martial Superiority, fights first if he's in the engagement range of a character. And Honor or Death, they can heroically intervene 6 inches or 5, and move an extra 3. So he's cool. He's not a special character, but he can't have a relic because his weapons are already all relics. And then we're into that Primaris Crusader squad. The Primaris Initiates, they're just intercessors. The Neophytes are scouts with 2 wounds. So 3s and 3s, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 6, 4+ save. And then Primaris Sword Brother, he's got 3 attacks and leadership 8 as opposed to the core of the regular guys. So every initiative has a auto bolt rifle, frag grenades, and crack grenades. The Neophytes have bolt pistols, chain swords, frag grenades, and crack grenades. And the Sword Brother has a heavy bolt pistol, power sword, frag grenade, and crack grenade. Now you can give the power sword up to a power axe for the Sword Brother. Their heavy bolt pistol can be replaced with a power pistol. And then all the Neophytes can either have a straight shotgun or a bolt carbine. I love the idea of giving them straight shotguns and make them all damage too. And then any number of Primaris Initiates can replace their auto bolt rifle with a heavy bolt pistol and an Astartes chain sword. So they could all just be assault intercessors if you want them to be. For every 10 models in this unit, up to 2 Primaris Initiates can have their auto bolt rifle replaced by one of the following: a Power Blaster, a heavy bolt pistol, or a Power Fist. So to build this squad, I have a squad of assault intercessors I haven't painted yet, and I'm just going to add them to this unit, I think, with like a little bits of gizmos added in to make them look a little bit more Primaris-y, or sorry, Black Templar-y. And that's going to give me, I think I can add, so what's the add? No, it's just add models. So it's, oh, yes, right, it's 5 to 11 initiates, and then 4 Primaris. So I basically have my Primaris Sword Brother, I'd have the 4 Neophytes for 5, and I could add 10 more initiates, because I have 5 in here, and that way I could give them extra power fists and 10 models in this unit. So I could have 2, if I had 15 models, I could have 2 of those things. So I could have a power fist and a power blaster that way, which would be neat. Regular Crusader squad, so the Neophytes only have 1 wound. You can see they're just basic scouts, and then everybody else is pretty much the same. Sword Brother is 2 attacks instead of 3, 1 attack for the initiate. You got regular chain swords. No, they have Asterius chain swords now. And shotguns. They're much the same as they were. The Sword Brothers bolt pistol can have a weapon from the pistols list and a weapon from the melee list, so you can still, they're a little more flexible still than the new Primaris one is. And any number of Neophytes can have an Asterius shotgun or a combat knife, and combat knife. And then for every 10 models, 1 Initiate's bolt gun can be replaced with a special weapon, and 1 Initiate's bolt gun can have one of the following: a power axe, bolt, power fist, power maul, power sword, or a weapon from the heavy weapons list. You can still have heavy weapons in the squad, which is sweet. Sword Brethren, 4 to 10 models. So they are fairly, that's interesting that they come with 4 base in the box. That's an interesting, maybe they have 5 in the box? Actually, I don't know what the box comes. I think that they pictured 5 on Warhammer Communities. It's probably 5. But it's weird that it's 4. I don't know why it's a minimum of 4 then. Same as the squad leader. And they come equipped with heavy bolt pistol, chainsword, frag and crack grenades. Any number of Primaris Sword Brothers can have their Asterius chainsword replaced with a power sword. If it has 9 or fewer models, 1 guy can have a thunderhammer, 1 guy can have 2 lightning claws, 1 guy can have a power axe, 1 guy can have a power maul, and 1 bolt pistol can be changed for a plasma pistol. Up to 2 can have their heavy bolt pistols replaced with power pistols. If it's 10 or more, then double that. They are Vow-sworn Bladesmen. While any Templar vows are in effect, this unit is not affected by the Passion. So they get their vow, but not the drawback, which is pretty cool. So they could have cover even with that shrug. That's pretty sweet. And those are all the new units. We had a double wide of that sweet, sweet John Blanche cover from 3rd edition. And then all of our profiles, if you haven't seen them on Warhammer Community. The Auto Plasma is basically a rapid fire, like, super plasma. It's just a auto bolt rifle built into a plasma gun. And that's pretty much it. We saw everything else on the unit profiles. So yeah, 100 points for the Emperor's Champion, 160 for Helbrecht. Grimaldus is 140. Primaris Sword Brethren are 22 points each. Crusaders are going to be 18 points for a regular guy, 13 for a neophyte. Lots of upgrades costing there. And then 16 for a neophyte that's Primaris, and 19 for the other models. And then everybody can pay 20 points for a multi-mount on their weapons, and the Primaris Captain can take the Auto Flamer or the Power Axe for 5 points. The Primaris Lieutenant can take the Auto Plasma and the Combi Flamer for 5 points. And then the cost for all of your relics. And that's it. Referencing glossary. So, what do we got here? Well, we have an attempt to make a melee army in 40k. I mean, the Space Marine Codex has been outclassed pretty much by the last 2 releases. Even the Grey Knights Codex, I think, is maybe a bit better than the Space Marine Codex now, although it's way less flexible and can do less things. So what do I think? I think that this is a wonderful homage to veteran Black Templar players taking their army into the Primaris Rubicon and giving them some wicked new models from some classic artwork. Is this going to be a top-tier tournament army? I don't think so. It's a shooting meta in 9th and building in a big, cool, superchargy melee army. I think it'd take a very... put it this way. I think on the tournament layout tables right now happening in North America, these guys might have some legs because they can benefit from the enhanced block line of sight to maybe get into melee. They have some cool abilities like that 1 CP to push into a zone with extra models, but they're going to almost build like a big multi-unit chargey army, and if they lean into support with like shooting and stuff like that, they're leaning away from all the melee stuff that they do and the sort of specialty of their armies. They can't put the Primaris squads in Crusaders, so the Crusader charge ability is only really going to apply to the old school units, so like the old Crusader squad. And that means that the Land Raider Rush is an interesting cool, and it's cool that it came back, but not necessarily amazing. There's probably some combos in here, obviously, I'm not seeing. And I do love the ability to give like baby relics type of stuff, but what I'm excited about mostly is painting up these guys for kill team. And they're beautiful miniatures. I'm excited. I'm hoping the White Dwarf gives them a kill team roster, so Black Templars can join my kill team stuff, because I'm excited to paint the models, and as usual, the models are gorgeous. You can check them out on the paint table today. Big thanks for Workshop sending along this free sample to check out, and for you guys for watching. Thanks out, Mash. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look through the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.